Hi everyone, Richard here at Calvin Wazoo with another video this week. I may be producing several videos this week. Get them done because next week I'm going to be traveling for work and probably will be a while before I can publish another video. And it's time for me to do this video of these recent acquisitions that I picked up, all in the punk genre, or punk adjacent, as I like to say. And partly because there was this fantastic sale in June, at the end of June, I think it was, or maybe it was early July leading up to the 4th. But anyway, it was like 20–30% off everything, you know, at the Alternative Tentacles website. And I picked up a lot of stuff there. And it's all really, really good stuff. So get started here. The first one was this 7-inch single by Molotov Cocktail and called Jerks in Progress. All right, there's actually 4 songs on this 45 RPM 7-inch. On the Newt side is a song Drive and then a song Aliens. And then the titular song, Jerks in Progress, on the Rush side. And TCTS, you know, it's got the Alternative Tentacles, you know, label. And then on, you know, here, again, that alien-looking green boy. I mean, seriously, the cover of this really sold me on it. But I didn't completely buy it blind. I did listen to it on, found a YouTube video and listened to it, and it's really good stuff. Here is a needle drop of the titular song, Jerks in Progress. There you go. This is really good stuff. Here's a little more information about them because it really was difficult for me to find information about this band. I thought perhaps maybe they're kind of new, but no, they've been around since 1991. And they began as a trio. So this is an early iteration of the band. This was released in 1996. They formed in 1991. And there's been some changes. Gabby is the main anchor person who has been with the band all the way through. Gabby plays guitar and throat. Then on this release, we got Paula Ernst on bass, who really shreds it, and Samoya on drums. So they're from New York City, and they were, this description here says, okay, let's see, they were named Molotov Cocktail, spew forth a determined flow of piss and vinegar from their politically active bilge set forth against the industry standard. The band manages to successfully fuse the in-your-face confidence of New York City punk with a touch of humor and speed of the West Coast hardcore, resulting in an unconventional yet awesome Lower East Side punk rock. So, yeah, they've got new members in it now. I haven't heard anything else by them, but this is really, really good. And apparently they have moved over to Europe in 2006. Gabby took the band over to Europe. And it's my understanding, according to this website, Interpunk, that they are working potentially on another album coming out. So there you have Molotov Cocktail. Now, the other band that I picked up from the Alternative Tentacles website is this one here, Ooga Wooga. All right? It's the lighter side of global warming. I saw the artwork for the album cover, and I'm like, okay, I want to get this. And again, there's just not a lot of information out there about this band. This is a release from 2017. So, and they're not on any label. All right, so they're producing and issuing these records pretty much on their own. The copy I got, has got a lyric sheet for the inside, but it also came with a CD release of the same album, and a little bit of information here about the band and who they are, some thanks and things like that. So it was recorded and mixed by Jorg Uken at Sound Lodge Rauderfane in September of 2016. It was mastered at the Record Industry in Haarlem, and that's Haarlem. So this was recorded and produced and mastered in the Netherlands. And then all songs by Ooga Wooga. So you got, Georgian Ka on bass, backing vocals, and Renee Huizinga on drums, backing vocals, Martijn Wassenaar on guitar and vocals. So clearly these guys are Dutch. And the song I'm going to play for you is it's either Conspiratio Infinita or it's Conspiratio Infinita. Anyway, here we go with some Ooga Wooga. Very, very in-your-face, hardcore, good stuff. I mean, I really, really liked this and have enjoyed it. Put that behind me. All right, so the next one is a gay punk band with a name that might be a little bit too much for some people's sentiments. They are known as Middle-Aged Queers. And the record here is Too Fag for Love. And it is a 10-inch, 33 RPM record. Really quite good. It is also, this is on the, what is this label? Outpunks, I think is the label. And, it comes with a lyric sheet for the songs on here. It's on this pink vinyl, and I believe it is Outpunks is the record. It says Outpunks #1. So who knows? This might be a new label for them. Yeah, the description, they're from Oakland, California, and the description, which is on Bandcamp, So you can find their music on Bandcamp as well. Crawling out of the primordial ooze of punk past, middle-aged queers are a quartet of Jurassic punks, barreling down Interstate 580 on a mission to save rock and roll with broken limbs and gear held together with duct tape. All right, so there you go. Appears they have two full-length, well, not full-length. Like I said, this is a 10-inch. They have another release. It's called Shout at the Hetero. Not a lot of other information about this. Not in the music guide, but the song I'm going to play for you is the opening track called Gary's Making Biscuits. Very short, simple song opening up the album there. So that's Middle-Aged Queers. Other great stuff. All right, now we're going to move on to a band that I've had a record of theirs for quite a while. Got it first on CD, and then I picked it up on eventually on vinyl. And that is, Pansy Division, all right? So for a long time, though, this was the only Pansy Division. I can't even remember when I bought it, but I bought it solely because of the cover. That's it. I hadn't listened to it at all. And that record was kind of a punk sound, maybe a little power pop kind of sound to it. It's from the 90s. The one that I picked up from the Alternative Tentacles website, and it's on the Alternative Tentacles label. It's a CD. It's only been released as CD, and that's this one here, which is Total Entertainment. This is a fairly new release by Pansy Division. And so, yeah, let me quickly check here on this one. It was released in 2003. And this is a much more mature sound, if you can believe maturity, because, of course, the song content is pretty juvenile in many respects, but the music definitely has matured into much more of a power pop, and a little more than just your basic two-chord kind of punk rock song. And the one I'm going to play for you is Alpine Skiing. All right, so Alpine Skiing from Pansy Division. Stop that, just in time so I wouldn't offend too many people with that song. Okay, so Pansy Division is a good act. I certainly would like to get some more. All right, then I picked up some other records, and one of them is one that I did get from Alternative Tentacles. Then after that, the other records came from other sources. But the last one that I did pick up from Alternative Tentacles is, all right, it's this one here. And this is Jello Biafra and Mojo Nixon, Prairie Home Invasion. This is, God, this is really amazing, really good stuff. All right, so, you know, Jello Biafra, you know, from the Dead Kennedys. You know, he was the front man of the Dead Kennedys throughout their career. And then, you know, he'd also been involved in some other projects post, you know, Dead Kennedys, working with other musicians and other bands, and also doing a lot of spoken word content. You know, if you check my punk playlist, I've got a couple videos in there that have an interview with Jello. But what I did is this Mojo Nixon with the Toad Lickers, all right, that he's playing with. A little more information about them, all right? So Mojo Nixon was, if you know anything about Ed Sanders from the Fugs, you know, that's kind of the character of Mojo Nixon. He was on college radio in the 1980s. He had a cult following, and he's described as having this motor mouth redneck persona and a gonzo brand of satire with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer. Okay, he did some music, you know, and that were kind of celebrity-themed novelty hits. He did one that's called Elvis is Everywhere, then Debbie Gibson is Pregnant with My Two-Headed Love Child, and then he did a song called Don Henley Must Die. But, you know, he was also did a lot of different types of rants. He had something that he published called I Hate Banks. Another one, Destroy All Lawyers, and I Ain't Gonna Piss in No Jar. All right. So, yeah, that's Mojo Nixon. He's from North Carolina, Chapel Hill, North Carolina. He's 1 year older than I am. He was born in 1957. Anyway, so he is playing here with Jello Biafra, and I'm going to play two songs, okay? So the first one is called Are You Drinking With Me, Jesus? And that one is featuring Mojo Nixon.
Well, I saw you sitting there. I was trying not to stare. I wasn't sure if it was you. I didn't know just what to do. Well, are you drinking with me, Jesus? I can see you very clear. Are you drinking with me, Jesus? Won't you buy a friend beer? Well, as you nestled on your bar stool, I felt your warmness within. You know, then I looked down at my pants, and that wasn't warmness. I wet myself again. Well, are you drinking with me, Jesus? I can see you very clear. Are you drinking with me, Jesus? Won't you buy a friend a beer?
So that's Mojo Nixon. And the other song I'm going to play, this one is going to be featuring Jello Biafra, and it's called Love Me, I'm a Liberal.
I cried when they shot John Lennon. Tears ran down my spine. And I cried when I saw JFK, as though I'd lost a father of mine.
So while, you know, Jello Biafra can be easily categorized as this far left, you know, person, and that's probably accurate because he not only rants against right-wingers, he also rants against liberals, as you can see, you know, with that song, Love Me, I'm a Liberal. Wonderful. God, this is such a really good album, and I'm so glad I got it. Now, another one that I got, but these are coming from another, you know, seller in Discogs. And this one is also Jello Biafra, and it's the Jello Biafra in the Guantanamo School of Medicine. The album is White People and the Damage Done. Again, this is just such brilliant material. So, you know, again, you can't really, some of the songs have that kind of hardcore edge to them like the Dead Kennedys, but the musical styles in all these songs on both the records, the one with Mojo Nixon and with this one, really are quite varied. Everything from rockabilly to, you know, parody country to, you know, a basic, you know, power pop, you know, and as well as, you know, punk. But nonetheless, great stuff here. And the song I'm going to play for you, the needle drop, is a song called Crapture. This record cover freaks me out, you know, it really does. It's just, anyway, that was Crapture. All right, now we're getting close to the Grail. And when I found this Grail in a price range that I was willing to pay, and then also in good condition, and the seller seemed to have really good, you know, feedback, and a lot of good feedback, you know, I thought, okay, I'm tired of waiting to get this. But the seller had this thing where, you know, if you order $200 or more, then the shipping is free. And I wasn't up to the $200 level. I was well short of the $200 level. So I added another record to it to push it above $200. So while not a super expensive record, you know, it was still kind of pricey, and it's from the same band. So you'll know who the hell I'm talking about here when I get to it. But the one that I bought to push it over that limit was this live recording, No Means No, Live and Cuddly. Now, I'd been looking for No Means No for like a long time, past few years. And this is an incredible, incredible live recording that, let me see here. Where was this? I think this was in the Netherlands someplace. Might have been Copenhagen. I should have had that. No, I think this was in Finland because the introduction is from Radio Fit. Well, no, here it is. These recordings were mixed and engineered, blah, blah, taken from shows in Vera, Groningen, and Evenaar, Eindhoven, Holland in 1990. All right. I know about Eindhoven because when I was a kid, our family had a exchange student from Eindhoven in the Netherlands. So anyway, this No Means No, and the song I am going to play is Victory.
When I set out on this journey, I thought I would never live. When I started down that road, I could not see the end. And when I took that first step, I fell in so deep, so fucking deep. And all the things that were so hard to want, you know, I thought I would always keep. What do you think I said? Standing like a wall in front of me. Defeat, not victory. Defeat, not victory. Defeat, not
So this is a double record live recording, and great stuff. And that's what pushed me over the $200 mark so that I could get free shipping. Because here's my Grail. I've been waiting to get this for a long time. No means no, wrong. Yeah. So No Means No, if you don't know about them, they are from Vancouver, British Columbia. And they formed in roughly, the early 1980s. Their first release was in 1984. This one was released in 1989. And it's on the Alternative Tentacles label. Let's see, right here it is, the record. So, there we go. The bat label. Yeah, really sweet. Virus 77 is the catalog number. All music guy, identifies wrong as if you're only going to own one No Means No album, wrong is the record to get. And it is just a totally amazing, powerful, in-your-face, and the guys know how to play their instruments. The band is essentially formed by two brothers, John Wright and Rob Wright, and over the years it has included also Andrew Kerr and Tom Holliston. Just really super amazing stuff. There's been rumors about Alternative Tentacles potentially releasing a reissue. There was in fact a reissue in the mid-2010s, I believe, but that reissue is just as expensive as an OG. There just apparently not that many copies of it running around, and it's a very sought-after title. So it's a amazing listen. And I'm playing the opening track. It's called It's Catching Up.
You hear that sound? You hear that sound? My fingers scratching underground. You hear that sound? That slamming door. I fought it all my life, but I can't fight it anymore. It's catching on. I fought. I dared duck. Shit, I walk. How do you hide from something you have found? You hear that sound? That scratching sound? Is it better to be lost or found? You can't ignore it. You can't talk it away. You can't drink it away. You can't fuck it away. It's catching on. I fought. I dared duck. Shit, I walk.
Great stuff. I mean, I am so happy to have this in my collection now. So there you have it. My punk records that I've recently acquired, including one of my grails that I've been looking for a very long time. And as usual, I am going to pick a book to talk a little bit about. And I don't believe I've mentioned this one. You know, I'm realizing that because the books that I talk about, you know, it's at the end, it's not part of the title. So it's not like, oh, I've already talked about this. It's, you know, I have to go back in and look and, you know, or at least look in the notes to see if I typed in the book. But anyway, the one I'm going to go with is this one I recently read. And something tells me I've already talked about this before, but it's called City Gate Open Up by Bei Dao. And it's a memoir. Bei Dao is a poet who grew up in Beijing. And this memoir is just really very beautiful. And the vignettes of him growing up in Beijing are really poignant. And what is also really great about this is he grew up and lived through, he was old enough to remember these times, both of these times, during two terrible parts of Chinese history under Mao Zedong. And the first one being living through the Great Leap Forward, which is, you know, if you are of my generation and your mother ever said to you, eat your food, don't you know there are starving people in China? You know, that's where that came from, because the Great Leap Forward was this effort to really boost the agricultural production in China, but it ended up starving everyone because all the food was being shipped out of the country to go to the Soviet Union, or a good portion of it. So Chinese people were starving to death. And then he also grew up during the Cultural Revolution, which people may be more familiar with. But I tell you, you really, you know, unless you read about the Cultural Revolution, you really don't understand what happened at that time. And one of the things this did is showed how the whole culture of youth under Mao's megalomaniac direction took this religious, it was religious, although it was political fervor, to a religious fanaticism, and, you know, attacked people because they weren't conforming to it. And all I can say is what he describes here to me is like, my God, this is what's happening to the Republican Party in the United States right now. It's gotten to a point where, you know, if you don't follow the line, you can't be a Republican. You know, the whole concept of rhino. A great example is he talks about this guy in here who read everything by Marx, by Engels. He read everything written by Stalin and Trotsky and Lenin. as well as others. So he knew his communist doctrine, and he stood up against those in the Cultural Revolution and said, having a revolution doesn't make you more communist than anyone else. Waving a banner doesn't mean you believe in the ideology. You know, it doesn't make you any more patriotic to the country because you are doing these things. You don't even know what you're talking about. And they sent him to prison. So, beautiful, like I say, beautiful book. And he doesn't hold back in how, in his youth, how he got caught up in at times with the whole thing about the Cultural Revolution, and how he managed to, it was his poetry, I believe, that probably saved him, that he was, you know, he wrote poetry. Wonderful book to read, and it's a fairly recent book. I'll have information in the Down Under about where it's published, etc. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video about my punk rock and new acquisitions there, and my Grail with No Means No. And I remind you that I'm on Instagram as NewsDude76. That's NEWZDUDE76. And as always, remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.